Yo, what's going on, everybody? So the following clip that you guys are about to hear is from the 5 Kage Summit podcast, episode number 2. And this time joining me on the podcast is going to be Eternal Hokage, one of the most underrated Naruto / Boruto YouTubers that we have in the community. If you have not subscribed to him, I highly recommend doing so. It's been really fun to watch him grow as a creator over the last couple of years. Now, before we get into the clip, I get this question a lot. People ask me, hey, how can I listen to the whole podcast? Do you have it somewhere else or is it just on YouTube? For right now, I only have this podcast on YouTube, but I am working on getting it onto other platforms. The other thing is, if you want to listen to the full podcast when it goes up, check the 5 Kage Summit playlist that I have in the playlist tab on my channel. Right now, only episode 1 is up, but the moment episode 2 gets finished, I'll upload the full episode 2 to that playlist on the channel. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this snippet of the podcast.
I don't want to say that people are blindly like watching these series and only looking for a loud protagonist that screams his goal. I'm not saying that. As I said, I think it's a mix of a few factors. One of them being that Naruto ended in a shitty way, and so people go into Boruto in a negative way. A lot of people just call it a product, a cash grab, this and that. But you're not supposed to get the same type of main character. I like that they have Boruto as the genius to kind of contrast Naruto or whatever.
Like, this is the thing with Boruto. When you look at writing a character, and in particular writing a main character, okay? Like, with Boruto, a main character has to have a flaw. With Boruto, he has several flaws. He's bratty, he's annoying, he's immature, he's lazy, he's spoiled, he is a cheater. And when you read the novelization of the Naruto Boruto, the movie, the thing that they hammer home better than in the novel than they did in the movie is the fact that Boruto has a moment where he looks at Momoshiki when Momoshiki is eating these chakra pills and he's taking everybody's jutsu, and he compares it to the scientific ninja tool. And the whole dynamic was the fact that Boruto had all this talent, but he didn't want to train in order to fully master that talent. He didn't want to go through the hard work. Once he saw those hard work, he kind of gave up on it. When he looks at Momoshiki, he automatically sees it, and it's implying that he sees that this is what he could have been if Sasuke didn't step in to train him. He could have been someone that cheated and took shortcuts and didn't fully maximize his power. That's a character flaw, but that's also showing growth. That's showing that his sensei had an influence on him. Those are all different things. It's not like with Naruto, where Naruto is just a fucking idiot to start the series. Like, this is something you can take on with Boruto and you can build on. In chapter 1 of the manga, Boruto says, like, this isn't the story of the kid who had a dream of becoming Hokage. He says that, you know, back then I was a brat. I didn't realize how good, I'm paraphrasing. He said, I was a brat. I didn't realize how good I had it, and things have changed. That's all part of Boruto overcoming those character flaws.
And that's Boruto's character motivation. I would like to say a few things about that. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
People complain that he doesn't have a goal, quote unquote, doesn't have a goal. Now, I have to go back to the academy days, and then I'll get into his current goal. I think a lot of people forget this because it happened many episodes ago, but in the first 30, 40 episodes or so, Boruto didn't have a defined goal. And as the academy days were slowly starting to lead up to the getting graduation exam, you could see in a few episodes Boruto being kind of depressed, and he was complaining that he won't be able to be with his friends all the time. But Boruto was pretty sad that he was gonna, not be able to be with his friends all the time. And that's also a realistic concern that we have when we switch from, in Serbia we have like primary school and then high school. I know there's like a few schools in America or whatever. And especially when we look at the first scene of the Boruto anime, we know that Boruto is going to lose potentially some of these friends. So that's why that, I guess, quote unquote, goal is good in that part of the story. But afterwards, as he meets Sasuke and as he grows, he pretty much decides that, okay, I want to do something good for the village. I want to have my freedom. I basically want to be the Shadow Hokage. And he says it directly to Sarada, yo, when you become the Hokage, I'm going to help you, right? He just doesn't want to do it directly, whatever. He wants to do everything from the shadows. No, he doesn't go around every episode screaming this, oh, I want to help Sarada when she becomes the Hokage. I want to be her right-hand man or whatever. But I feel like the lack of that direct goal that's constantly mentioned I don't see that as a problem. As a problem when we discuss like a character, like the complexity of the character. I just don't see why people have problems with it. It is a fact that most popular shonen characters have like this like super direct goal that they mention all the times. I don't know.
They spoon feed it to you. Like Naruto used to always say, I'm gonna be, he would always work it in. And like, I challenge somebody to tell me that, especially in part 1, every arc from the Land of Waves to the Search for Tsunade arc, the Konoha Crush arc, every arc Naruto will make a passing reference that I'm gonna be Hokage, or being Hokage is my dream. And then the manga's all Naruto. So when you get into the anime, Naruto Shippuden, it wasn't beat over your head as much, but in key moments, Naruto's Hokage dream would be shoved back in your face. With Boruto, like after he had that moment with Sasuke when they're walking on the Hokage monument and Sasuke asked him what his Nindo is, and Boruto's like, that's so old school, and Sasuke's like, shit, I feel old. After Boruto says, I want to be the Shadow Hokage, I want to help from the shadows, he doesn't bring it up, but if you look at it in the anime with the Mitsuki desertion arc and what's going on with Inoki, very slowly in the anime and definitely in the manga, he's learning that in order to be that person from the shadows, you're gonna have to go through some dark shit. Because look at what's going on in the manga right now.
Again, you mentioned that Naruto was, mentioning his goal pretty much every arc. Just to correct that, he would mention it 50 times.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, man. That shit got on my nerves. Like when I just started watching the anime, like I watched parts of it with my brother-in-law, but like I got in via the manga. I always read the manga and I would check the anime for key scenes. Like for me, the manga, it wasn't as bad, but in the anime, it's like Hokage, Hokage, Hokage. It's just like, shut the fuck up about this Hokage shit. Like that's just how I felt.
Yeah, at times. At times, I feel like everybody felt like that. At times, I understand why they did it, because they just wanted to make it clear. That's clearly something that your typical shonen reader / viewer likes. Because Asta gets a bunch of love, Naruto gets a bunch of love, Luffy gets a bunch of love, same with Deku or whatever. And
they're all underdogs.
Yeah. But then you have somebody who kind of doesn't scream out their goal every episode, like Ichigo or Boruto, and all of a sudden they're shit characters or whatever. It's like, I don't like it. I don't understand why people look at surface level things all the time so frequently, but it is what it is. But I feel like that the goal of Boruto, which isn't brought up every 5 seconds, I think it's noble, and I personally like it, man. I feel like it makes his character even more complex. The manga has like only around 40 chapters. There's more to come when it comes to Boruto's character in the future, which we cannot talk about right now because we don't know what's gonna happen. But when I analyze Boruto's character so far, the micro character development moments here and there throughout the anime and the manga, I strongly believe that in the future, that the future struggles that Boruto will have, I strongly believe that it's going to be written well, because so far, I really like how Boruto is written. I think he's very complex, and not complex, very complex, especially when you compare him to some of the most popular shonen protagonists nowadays. And of course, I'll clarify this, I'm not saying that characters such as Naruto, Luffy, and Deku are not complex. I feel like even Naruto as a character is slightly underrated, even more than slightly, but whatever. We're talking about Boruto. I'm not saying that these characters are not complex. I'm just saying Boruto is very different, very unique. And his character type, his character model or whatever, it's much harder to write.
You have to be more subtle.
Yeah, it has to be more subtle. And just because it's more subtle, it's not so direct, unfortunately, it doesn't, I guess, resonate with a lot of people.
And one other thing, if I could, I would like to kind of segue into something that we were talking about when we were talking on stream, because I feel like this could be added into the point about not the typical shonen main character. When we were talking on stream, you brought up that, at the moment you like Attack on Titan, it's your number 2 favorite series. Like, a little fun fact about Attack on Titan, okay, is like, I want you to picture Eren Yeager in your head, right?
Okay.
Like Eren Yeager, so essentially the author of Attack on Titan, tried to get published in Weekly Shonen Jump. Like he approached, because Jump is like the holy grail, okay? Over in Japan when it comes to manga. Literally one of the reasons why. He went over there with Kodansha and not with Weekly Shonen Jump and Shueisha is because they told him, well, we want you to make the character more like Naruto, because Naruto embodies all those shonen tropes. And he was like, that's not the type of story story I want to tell.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I say that to say, like, part of why Attack on Titan worked is because technically it's a shonen, okay? Technically it's a shonen. Eren Yeager is like 13, 14 years old, and when the series skips ahead a little bit, he's around 18 or 19 years old. But like at the same time, it's just like it's different, and that's why it blew up so fucking quick in my opinion. Like Demon Slayer, I've started reading that. Demon Slayer, it's different. It still has some of those shonen elements, but it's different.
Yeah, yeah. But it just unfortunately, it just so happens that with Boruto, this factor of uniqueness, you know, something different, it doesn't sit well with many people. I feel like there's also one more aspect of it. I wasn't around in the anime community during the big three era, like the prime, I'd say, when all three mangas were running. But I see it even today on Twitter how, and of course not all Bleach fans, but some Bleach fans like to shit on Naruto / One Piece. One Piece fans do the same thing for Naruto and Bleach.
That shit was so bad back in the day, dude. That shit was horrible.
And so what I'm trying to say is Boruto is, well, I don't know if it's classified as a spin-off or whatever, or a sequel. That doesn't matter. That's part of Naruto. It's just a huge time skip, and focus isn't on Naruto. For me, this is Naruto, just a different time and a different protagonist. But you have also all these people who are not even fans, who don't even watch the series, who just hate on it because it's popular. When you combine all of that and the fact that Boruto grows in a subtle way, when you combine all of this and the fact that people are coming into Boruto with a negative mindset already without the Boruto series doing anything, you just get this huge negative reaction that I try to combat regularly. Not only because I personally like the series, but I try to look at it objectively. Yeah, Boruto has flaws, all these things, but he's much deeper than your typical Naruto fan would say, and your typical shonen fan.